The Monday Morning Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Esther of IPA Group, bringing premier online promotion to your business.
And Melanie of Stomp Social Media Training, who empowers business owners to manage social media and marketing for themselves.
Welcome back to another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Today we're talking about, does your product or service solve problems? Right? So maybe you're sort of thinking, you're listening to us going, well, duh, of course it does. That's why I'm in business. But do your customers know what problems you solve?
Well, it very much depends on who your customers are and how you're approaching them. The assumption is that people know the problem we solve, but unless we put it out, I suppose it's harking back to an old episode of features tell, benefits sell. But unless you explain to them explicitly what's in it for them, what they're going to get out of it, then they'll just see it as a post. And that's why people remember how you make them feel and not by what you just say.
Yeah. Plus, there could be times that people don't even realize that they have this problem. So when my kids were really young, there's millions of things on the baby market. It sounded a bit like the black market, but on the market for babies. And one of the things that came up to be added to the register for, baby shower and stuff like that was a baby wipe warmer. And I
I remember you saying this.
What is that? What is that, and why would I possibly need it? So, for those of you who have never come across this wonder, wet wipes are wet and cold. When you're changing a baby's nappy at 3 o'clock in the morning, the wet, cold wipe wakes them up even more. So it's harder to get them back to sleep again. So you don't realize these things until you're going through the process of changing a nappy at, dark o'clock in the middle of the night, to be able to then go, oh, I wish somebody had come up with this idea or has come up with this product or service to be able to solve this problem that I now have. So you might not even realize that one of your products or services solves the problem that people don't even realize they have yet.
So it's verbalizing what you may think has been a unique idea, and it probably has been, and then putting it into practice.
Yeah, absolutely. So think about what the problem is. Why is it a problem that, in the example that I gave, why is it a problem that wet wipes are cold? And why would they need to be warmed up? What the setup costs, the profits, everything like that. But then how do you market it to people who have never come across the problem? Right? So that's one of the things you'll have to think about in your marketing, is explaining the problem and explaining the solution before people even realize that they have a problem. So what miracle can you solve?
And are you being clear enough in explaining the problems you're currently solving?
Yeah, the language that you use is definitely up there with, how things are done, and not just be sell in the post, or you need this in your life. Explain why people need it. Explain what problem it is actually solving, or why it's a problem in the first place, because wet wipes have existed for a long time before a warmer came along. So how did people even realize it was a problem?
But now I can't think of how I coped before. I mean, we've all used something, be it flannels or wet wipes or whatever. But even if we've had the chance to make it warmer ourselves by putting it in our hands, we use warm water. It makes so much sense, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? And now you're sort of going, why didn't I think of that?
Think how much money I would have made
through those. Yeah. But why did I struggle through all those things? And another example, there's a friend of mine who is a hypnotist. And every time he says that he's a hypnotist, I'm just like, yeah, I get it. You're a hypnotist. You hypnotize people. But from time to time, he'll throw in a little nugget of, well, I was helping this family who the child is going through exams, and the exam stress was making the child not sleep. And I'm looking at him going, you're talking about a problem that I'm going through with, at the time, with my child having to go through exams and not sleeping well and, being a bit stressed. It's like, is he reading my mind? That's the point you need to get to with your clients, to be able to read their minds. And your promotions, or your, standing up at a networking event, or wherever you're telling people about your product and service, needs to be almost that freaky mind reading, whoa, he's talking only exclusively to me about this thing. Because otherwise it's just, oh yeah, I know what he does. I know what they do. Yeah. Oh, I've heard it before. Yeah. Oh, Melanie trains people in social media. Brilliant. Yeah. But why would I ever need that?
So it is a language thing. I find a lot of people tell us what their pain points are, normally in the first sentence when they contact you on a phone call, or in the first paragraph of an email. And even your testimonials, they'll tell you there as well. So it really does depend on where you look. And you'll be surprised sometimes what pain points you're actually solving. It's actually beyond the ones you think you're catering for as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, if you're doing group trainings, for example, maybe it's the getting together with other people who have the same problem and having other people ask those questions that you're too embarrassed or ashamed to ask. Maybe that's the problem that you solve, because somebody might be, well, Facebook's been around for 15 years now or more. So why do I still not understand how it works? I don't want to seem silly and, asking questions one-to-one, but a group setting might resolve those problems by other people asking those questions that they're too embarrassed to ask.
That's kind of a tough one, isn't it? Because in some group settings, people don't want to look like they don't know. That's a tough one, isn't it?
Well, you can have both. I mean, but if you can have somebody in there who just really is all in for the knowledge, and it's like, I really don't care how bad I look, I'm going to ask, what is this thing that you keep talking about? What is link in bio? When I see these letters, what does it mean? What is a KPI? What is an SOP? What is it? Because they're there to learn. So facilitating that learning and making it easier for them with your language and with your openness in the group, then, solving those problems. And if you put it into your marketing in the first place, that it is an open group to be able to ask the questions about, if it's a knitting group or a jewelry making group, put it into do you have questions about this, and this? And people are going, yeah, I really do. But you're too, you don't know where to look for the answer. Yes, I really do. Because, I mean, we've all got access to the internet, but there are so many conflicting advice out there and conflicting articles sometimes that you're just going, well, who do I believe? Do I believe that person, or do I believe this other person? So, yeah, I really think that at the end of the day, down to the nitty gritty, like, if you're not getting out what it is that the problem that your product or service solves, then you're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing your customers a disservice, because they really need to know.
And
you didn't go through all that market research.
Yeah. And assuming people would just know what to do with your product or service isn't enough. You do need to spell it out to them.
You do. And like I've said, you didn't go through all that product research and market research and the R&D and the setup costs and, to just not sell anything. Where did your inspiration come from? What made you make that product? What made you provide that service?
Yes.
Where did you see a gap in the market?
Yeah, see, sometimes what actually starts you in your business doesn't necessarily answer a problem other than your own. No, I'm right. Yeah. I'm right here, totally. Because
I know.
When I set up my business, my motivation was I can't bake, and they're laying off SNAs left, right, and center. So I can't do that either. So what can I do that will fit around my family? And that's why I started. Well, I kind of fell into this business, in fairness, but a lot of people do. They kind of fall into their little niche, their little field.
Yeah.
And but that's the problem because we set up our own businesses. We're more invested in finding out an answer to our problems
Mhm.
than I need to make money. I need to pay the bills. And it actually takes testimonials and people from outside. So people are objective to come and tell us exactly
Yeah.
what problems we're solving. And so if you're really struggling to really understand, especially if you're kind of early stage, what problem do I solve? Then it's worth asking around people who aren't your immediate friends and family, who you've bounced the idea off, but somebody who can look at your images and your messaging and your wireframe information on your website. That was a new word I learnt last week. That was, and so it's something that you need to do objectively, I feel. And I think that's why mentors are really helpful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially if they're ones that you don't know and they're coming in, like you say, so from an external point of view and looking at it. Like if you were to open up somebody's Instagram account, because we just talked about that last week, open up their feed. What does it say? What does their wall say to you? You know, if it's just pictures of random objects or lots of cups of tea, what do they like? What do they sell? What problem are they solving? There should be, like, I'm not saying go out and emblazon your whole thing.
Do you know,
with,
you
I
said
solved
cups
this
of
problem,
tea, and all I thought of was making.
See, she's got that down pat, you know, so that you think of making Sang the FOMO creator because she's always making tea.
Yeah, and she did make tea for a living.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, when you have a clear message, the message will be understood no matter what platform your customer's on. That's what we're talking about today, guys. If you have any questions, if you would like us to review your socials to see what it is that you're selling or what problem you're solving, do get in touch. We're happy to help. And if you do need any training on it, Melanie will be more than happy to help. Or a rejig of your website, then come to me. Selfless plug.
Well, that's the problem we're solving.
Exactly. Yeah, it is, and we don't talk about it enough on the podcast. So there you go, guys. That's a bit of a shameless plug from us today. You don't hear too many of them, but we'll be back next week with more Monday Morning Marketing. And until then, bye-bye.
Bye. Have you noticed you always go bye-bye?
Bye-bye. Yeah,
Bye-bye.
I always do that.
Why do you go bye-bye? Why don't you just go bye?
Because it's a Northern Irish thing. If you
They
were
go
to phone me, I'd
bye-bye.
go bye-bye, 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 bye-bye.
But that's an
bye-bye.
Irish
It's
thing.
not bye-bye. It's just
They don't go
bye-bye.
bye-bye. They go bye-bye, 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 bye-bye.
Yeah, that's what I said. Bye-bye. You must
That's
have
not
a
what you said at all.
thing.